Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm back. Today we're doing something kind of interesting. We're doing a recap. The Legacy playoff, quarterly playoff, was yesterday. It's an 8-round event with around just under 200 people, 199, and I got 46th. I was 5-3 with this deck list. I'm pretty happy with my result, but I could have done better if I played a couple things slightly differently. I think there are two mistakes in particular that I'll mention that had I not made, one I probably would have won the match, and the second one I would have gotten to a game 3. And I'm sure there are some other questionable plays that I made at various points. It's hard to play these things perfectly, especially when they're 8 rounds. So yeah, we played the 4-color build. We found a way to shave more and more Ancient Ziggurats, because this card is real bad when you draw multiples of them. So we've got 2 fetches for 2 Badlands, a Plateau, and a Volcanic. Which unfortunately makes this deck very expensive, which I'm not a fan of. I don't own any Volcanic Islands, so oof. Can't build my own deck in paper. Yeah, I played 2 Caracas in the main, partially because I expected a ton of depths, but also because, we got 2 legends to protect at least, and extra white source for Thalia. Sideboard, we played these as kind of generic anti-combo cards. Well, Leylines, I expected Reanimator to be popular, which it wasn't, surprisingly. And I kind of suffered for that. I would have preferred Surgical to some extent. 2 Relics, because Rug I knew was going to be very popular, and obviously it did very, very well at the event. Rug is the best deck going forward, hands down. So I'm probably going to go up on Relics. Probably going to swap out. I'm probably going to cut a Ley Line and play 2 Surgicals and then play a 3rd Relic like that. Probably that's going to happen. 2 Thalia, 2 Kinesis, 1 Sting Scourger in the side, 2 Chalice, 2 Needle, 1 Wispmare for the wayward back to basics, but also sneak attack. I'll probably bring this in against lands because of Sylvan Library and Exploration. And Molten Vortex. Yeah. So let's go to the games, because I thought they were pretty interesting. So the record. So I went 2-2. So I was 2-0. Then I lost 2. Then I won 3. Then I lost the last one. So round 1. Let's make sure everything's up before I start. Okay. Fans are kind of kicking into high gear for some reason, so I'm gonna move my computer a little further away from my microphone, so you guys aren't getting as much of that white noise. Alright, that doesn't seem to be too bad. Alright, so we're on the draw. So the other thing, I sucked at winning the die roll this weekend. I won it twice. I was on the play twice this whole event. So, first hand had no color sources. We mull into a 1-lander Vial on the draw, but we have double Lackey with a Cavern, so I'm like, okay, if we're a blue deck, that's okay. So I'm hoping I can go either Lackey Expert if I draw a land, or Vial and survive off that. So I find out I'm playing against humans, or a weird D&T with Rising Company, but I assume it's humans. So I'll lead on Vial as well, because we get a Vial Mirror. Humans confirmed. So here's a decision point already. They obviously have a 1-drop, because otherwise they wouldn't have played the Hierarch, they just would have vialed it in. So at this point, I'm thinking they either have a second double Hierarch or Mother Runes. So I decide to play out 1 lackey, and if they don't have a Mom, I'll be able to put in the second one, and if they do, I'll get to Fnatic it, and they have the Mother Runes right here, so I go to kill the Mom before they can untap. Excellent situation for Fnatic. Think about, if I wanted to Tarfire there, I would have had to hold up mana, and I don't even have red mana, so I wouldn't have been able to cast it. They have a second Mom, and they Meddling Mage on Matron. They attack me for 6 on turn 3, so they have a pretty aggressive start. However, they are on no cards in hand, so I don't have to worry about this file doesn't represent anything, which is pretty important, actually. So file goes up to 2, I draw a second land, which is really nice. So we Violin the Expert. So I kind of take this is a slightly risky line, in a sense, in that I go to kill the Meddling Mage instead of the Mom, because I'm betting that they're going to block. I really don't want them to untap with this Mom, but if they don't block and let the lackey through, I also get to put in a Ringleader and perhaps hit another Expert, and they don't know that I, don't have a removal spell necessarily for the Mom, so I take the bet on them blocking. So I attack, and they do block. So I'm fine with that trade. Lackey for Mom's a fine trade. So I decide to play. They don't have many ways to target your stuff. So I think Mariner isn't as important as the second, because the lackey here might prevent the champion from attacking. So they cycle Canopy, play land on Wizard. So this makes me think of Deputy of Detention as something I should be concerned about in the future. So see, the lackey holds back the 5/5 champion. Take a Violet for 3. I cast my Mariner. And I just pass. I'm just hoping to get this Vial up to 4. They leave their Vial on 2, which makes me think they don't have Deputy. They pass again. We go to 4, so we can Ringleader. We draw a third lackey. So we Ringleader. We hit Expert Ringleader, which is obviously very good. Now, if I wanted to be risky, I could Expert the champion right now. The problem with that is if they play a Thalia's Lieutenant, or really any Goblin, that gets blown out. So I decide just to play my other Vial and my other lackey, because next turn I'll have 7 Goblins on board after the Expert, and I'll be able to kill the champion. So they don't put in anything there. They play another land and just pass. And now I'm pretty firmly in control here, so I don't need to take risky lines. Draw another land, which is fine. Violin, the other Ringleader. Hit Chieftain. And I go to kill the champion. It dies. I swing with everything. Because if they have a blocker for 1 lackey, that's fine, because I'm still getting to put in the Chieftain. They have a Kitesail Freebooter. They get taxed for 1, which is funny, but not impactful. They eat a lackey, but that's okay. We still got in for like 8 damage there, and now we have a Chieftain on board, and they're dead. Unless they have something very, very good here. And that's the game. So that's game 1. So we kind of the Fnatic killing that first Mother Runes was like probably the most impactful point of the game, and the Ringleader hitting a Munitions Expert was also really important. Let's go to game 2. I keep another one-lander Vial with a Wasteland. I figure Pyrokinesis can buy me a lot of time. If I get, Hierarch into Deputied, I can clear both. We draw another land, which is nice. I lead on the red source here because while I know they play a Wasteland, I think leading on the Wasteland signals weakness. And it also, I don't really care if they Wasteland this a ton, because I'm just going to waste him back and then we both have nothing. But I have a Vial. And also, if I draw... Having my red sources in play could matter for future experts or mariners. So they play a Tomek here. This Tomek's problematic for a couple of reasons. One, it's protected by Mom, so that's annoying, and it's protected by Caracas. So it's actually very difficult to get this off the board, even with the Pyrokinesis. So we kind of have to get creative. So I can't wasteland them anymore. So I just decided to play out my Crater Maker. And they have a Wasteland, which is scary. It's attacking me for 2. And they play a Kite Sail. So normally this card whiffs against me, but it hits my Pyrokinesis. So I think that some people may have Kinesis right there. But given that I have 2 removal spells in my hand, I don't actually need to do that. I know I'm going to be able to get rid of this Kite Sail with the Crater Maker plus the Expert in 1 or 2 turns. So I just let the Kinesis get taken. Violin Malaki, take up to 2, draw Chieftain. So now at this point I kind of see how I want this game to go. What I ultimately want to do is connect with this Lackey, put Kranko into play with the Chieftain already in play. And so I'm trying to play as if that will happen. So here, before the attack step, I do have I could go for a riskier line and go like Crater Maker Mom, Crater Maker Mom, they activate response, I Expert the Kite Sail, get back Kinesis these, and then they bounce Caracas back, they bounce Tomek with Caracas. I get him with Lackey. My only issue with that is then I'm probably pitching the Matron to the Pyrokinesis. So I'm putting in Kranko, and I'll get to waste the Caracas, so it's not getting bounced. But if they have a removal spell, I'm not getting an activation out of the Kranko. And I think that's like really my game plan, because if this Kranko dies without getting value, I kind of lose all my power. So I decide to wait for a turn. I just attack with Crater Maker. I'm going to play a Hierarch. They attack for 3. End step, so they waste my Plateau. I float a mana, Expert, targeting the Kite Sail, kill it. So I trade the Crater Maker and the Expert for the Kite Sail and the Mom activation. I get my Kinesis back. I draw land. We pitch the Matron, because again, this is the plan right here, Chieftain, Kranko. Kill the Tomek and the Mom. They bounce Tomek. I Violin Chieftain, attack for 6. They don't block, because if they block with this Hierarch, they probably can't cast their Tomek anymore. And then we drop Kranko, and that puts them so far behind. We activate, get 4 dudes. They play a Hierarch. And we see here, they actually had a Dismember. So had I gone for it for a turn earlier, they would have dismembered the Krenko, and I would have been in a much worse position. But here, post-activation, I still have lethal through the Dismember. So I think I was being patient there really saved me. Alright, round 2. So we're on the draw. Keep a fine hand. However, not against Elves. This hand is pretty atrocious versus Elves. We try to bluff Death and Taxes with Karakas Vial, the Green Sun. I have a pretty strong turn 2, since they get to make 4 or 5 mana on. Oh, thanks guys. So here I actually pause for a while and like decide if I want to concede right here, but I figure they might not have natural order, so might as well play it out, because Krenko Chieftain can actually overpower them if they don't have the, maybe they're not natural order elves, but they have 4 mana, they have natural order, so I die on turn 3. So almost conceded early, but ended up not mattering. But they know I'm Goblins now, which is like, I don't know if it's really that impactful. They probably board relatively similarly. So here we keep a pretty good hand. You know, we have turn 1 Vial, a removal spell, a Needle, a Wasteland. Sting Scourger is sort of a removal spell. I brought it in because I don't have a great board for Elves. I boarded, how did I board? Yeah, I boarded all the Mariners out because they don't really do anything. A Ringleader and a Trash Master for 2 Pyrokinesis, 2 Needle, 2 Chalice. I think that's it. Oh, and the Sting Scourger. Oh, and I boarded out 1 Karakas as well, because I don't really have white cards anymore. So I draw a Matron. I decide that they're very likely to be able to block this Lackey here. So I just play the Needle on Quirion Ranger, because I don't name Symbiote, because they... Quirion Ranger lets them do stupid stuff, and it protects them. It basically turns off my Wasteland, which is my only other really interactive tool. Yeah, like Rexage, which they're going to bring in anyway. So they play Nettle Sentinel, Bayou, and there's the Quirion Ranger that I needled. So I felt smart about that. Also, the reason I'm playing, not waiting, is mana efficiency. If I draw a 3rd land and a red source, I want to be able to cast this Matron, potentially. So upkeep a Vial and the Lackey, because I'm not Sting Scourging this turn. We draw a Chalice. Chalice is a really good draw there. And I was kind of amused by the, you know, the 1-drop, 1-drop Chalice. The classic Goblins post board against Elves. I play Visionary. Take up to 3. Draw an super uncastable Expert. So the mana base is hurting me a little bit here. I play a Dryad Arbor. Again, really happy this Quirion Ranger is needled. We Violin Matron. And here, obviously, I wish I had a Chain Whirler. We're at Pashlik, because at least it means that we can start attacking into things. So we get kind of a free attack here. They block. Violin Pashlik. Trade happens. I kill the Dryad Arbor. I'm trying to cut their mana as much as possible, because I think in the long game I win. So I just need to make them have as few mana sources as possible. I don't want them to be able to Green Sun for a Dryad Arbor, and I don't want them to be able to, or not Dryad Arbor, Rex Sage, and I don't want them to get to 4 mana to Natural Order. So I don't want them to double block, so I just attack with the Matron, and I pass. So at this point, they're not doing anything, so my plan is to Sling Gang them out, honestly. So we Matron, grab our Sling, take up to 4, draw a Pyrokinesis, which is pretty rude and unnecessary, kill their whole board, attack for 4. At this point, I can just wait. I'm pretty sure that's even lethal, but I just didn't, like, it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. It actually is exactly lethal. I think it's actually 11 damage exactly, but yeah, I'm sure their hand is mostly 1-drops. So we just attack with everything, and that's game. So game 3. Game 3, we have a great hand. We have good mana, a card to pitch this Pyrokinesis. This Pile Driver isn't super important. We have an extra Crater Maker's removal, and we have a Chalice. This is a great hand. Lead on Bloodstained Mire. So the fact that they did that made me like start to think that they might be on a 1-lander. So I just play my Chalice. I almost Kinesis right there. But I wait. And now I see that they're likely on a 1-lander, so I just kill the board, pitch the Pile Driver. I draw a War Chief, which is a pretty insane draw. Because that means that I can get really proactive. Here, I think I make a too aggressive play, maybe. I Matron up Pashalik, which is correct. And then I cast it instead of playing Crater Maker and attacking. I should have realized that this is the same amount of damage. They're not going to Thoughtseize me. And what this doesn't... This leaves my shields down, basically, if they can kill this Chalice. Which is what happens here. I think, like, when they Abrupt Decay this Chalice, I thought I punted. I thought I was super dead. That is a mistake, though. So they played Nettle, Quarian, and at this point, I'm F6. Like, I have no responses, and they start going off. Now, the fact that they didn't have Glimpse on this turn is what saves me. You know, the fact they didn't have a Glimpse in Nature, they could just play a whole bunch of 1-drops. I cycle just to see, and since I'm using my mana anyway, we draw a Needle, which is nice. So I attack with everything. They quadruple block Pashalik, which means they're going to get rid of him, but at the cost of basically their entire board. Because Crater Maker effectively kills 2 creatures, 2 killing the Nettle Sentinel, 1 from the Pashalik killing the Birchfloor Rangers. These 2 trade, plus the Pashalik Death kills their last creature, and then I Needle the Quarian Ranger that's left. Get the Symbiote. I draw another Matron, like a Lexac. And here I have... I actually do the math. I do have Sling Gang lethal. Let's just attack with everything but the Sling. They block. Untap. They take 5. And then I drain them out for 5. So, definitely close. I gave them a window that I could have stopped if I had held up the Crater Maker for that turn. So something to keep in mind. All right, round 3. This is against Rug Delvers. This is the first time on the play, and I have a great hand. You know, two lands, a Vial, a 1-drop, and then some good late game. Pretty solid. See Trop Delver, and once again, Mog Fanatic. Excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent. We draw a Lackey. So I decide I'm okay not playing around Force of Will. They didn't force my Vial, so I don't think they have it, and I can beat a Daze since I have 2 lands. So we Fanatic the Delver immediately in case of Stifle, or it flips, obviously. That would be bad. So they play a Wasteland and a Tarmogoyf. 1/2 Goyf. I draw a land. So here I take the risky line of perhaps they don't... I expect that they'll have a Daze, but if they don't, the upside is super high for me to play Pashalik right now, because then the Lackey will trade with the Tarmogoyf. So I play my land and the Pashalik. Pashalik gets dazed. But this also means that they're not going to play Wrenn and 6 next turn, or something like that. So that, I think that's pretty good upside in of itself. So they have a Goyf. They attack. So this tells me they have a Bolt or a Stifle. So we go up to 3. We draw. So unfortunately, we draw the Mariner after we take 3. It would be pretty insane if the Vial was still on 2 and we draw the Mariner, and then we just file it in, and then they can't bolt the Lackey. That would be extremely gross. So they bolt the Lackey there. But the Mariner still sticks, and this is nice because it means that if they want to Wasteland me again, it's going to take their whole turn. If they want to bolt the Mariner, it's going to take their whole turn. So they ponder. Now I know that they can't kill that this turn. They attack for 4, that's fine. I don't block. We go Vial up to 4. We draw Karakas. So here, this makes me think that I'm free to Cranko, because even if they have 2 mana up and a Bolt, I can just Karakas back the Cranko. They attack for 4 again, and they just pass with the mana up. So I put in the Cranko, and now they do have another Lightning Bolt, but it again eats 2 mana, and they don't actually, they save themselves a Cranko activation, but I still keep the Cranko around. We draw a Cavern as the 4th land, which is pretty great. So I violate my Ringleader to see what I hit, and I hit Lackey Trashmaster. So I decide I still don't want to let this Cranko get hit by a 3rd Lightning Bolt, so I just play my Trashmaster. Because I'm thinking I can actually race this... Oh no, I play the... Wait. The Moto replay might be wrong. I don't know why I would tap out. That's weird. I'm wondering if this is wrong. No, I played the... Yeah. Yeah, now it's gonna get stuck. I played the Trashmaster last turn, and I played the Lackey this turn. Let's see if I can... No, it's just busted. Classic Moto things. Let's see if I can kick up to that point again. Just speed through. Sometimes it'll correct the mistake. That's so funny. Because I must have started to cast Lackey and then changed my mind. Nope, still wrong. Yeah. Just need to kick it harder, yeah. That's really annoying. Let's try that again, just one more time. Because I've gotten it to... There we go. Nope, pause. Well, now, it got it corrected, and then it just shot through. Alright, well, basically what happened is Trashmaster just let me straight up race the Tarmogoyf, and then we drew a Matron and got a Sling, and just drained him with that. Pretty funny. Alright, game 2. Game 2, I mulligan this very, very slow hand, and then this, I think I keep very reluctantly. And they just go land, go. I draw a Plateau, which is nice. And then they Spell Pierce my Vial. This made me very upset. Because people leaving in Spell Pierce against Goblins is just like, ugh. So that feels super bad. And I play a Goyf. And now my hand is more or less non-functional, especially after that Wasteland. Like, I have 3 uncastable cards. We draw a Cavern, which is something. This Pile Driver doesn't... Well, they trade with the Hex Drinker, which I'm happy about. But I'm just dead to a Wrenn. Yeah, it was a scary keep. Maybe I should have gone to 5. Yeah, I just Matron here, and I think I just concede. And I grab Crater Maker, that's right, yeah. We hold on for another couple turns here, but the Delver flips. They don't have any red sources for a while. But it's still pretty bad. So block the Goyf, kill the Hex Drinker. Same thing. So we had hit some running lands for a bit. I probably could have gotten back into this game, or a Relic. After killing this Goyf, I needed to draw a Relic. Killing the Delver, I mean. We draw a Chalice. I Wasteland them because of... I should have played the Chalice there. No, I didn't play the Chalice because I was thinking of... Relic was my good draw. So here I'm thinking, alright, I'll just have to cast Expert and hope to block. But they have the Bolt for the Expert. Or they just Bolt me, that's right. So game 3. Game 3, I keep probably the most speculative hand. I keep this 7. So my logic being, I have some good mana denial. I can handle the graveyard threats, and I can potentially stop them from ever playing, and I have a Cavern. Obviously, this hand doesn't do anything, but it can draw really well, is my logic. So basically I'm just like, if they don't play turn 1 Delver, I feel pretty good. And they lead on Ponder. So I'm like, okay. Feeling pretty good about that, actually. Draw a Mariner, which is cool. And we just port them here. So I'm just fully engaged on the mana denial plan. You play a Fetch, which fucks with my plans, actually. So here, I think I make a mistake. I shouldn't have played the Cavern, I think. I think I should have saved the Cavern and been willing to let the Mariner get countered. Because I think I played the Cavern before I decided if I was going to play the Mariner or the Matron. I should have just fetched out Volcanic and played the Mariner. I should not have played this Cavern. And this actually cost me the game. Spoiler alert. So I can't port them off, important things. So they bolt me, or they bolt the Mariner, which is fine. And then they waste my Cavern. So now, super regret. And here's my other mistake. I popped the relic right there. I really did not need to pop the relic right there. I think if I didn't do that, I think I win this match. I waste their Trop, port their Volcanic. They Brainstorm. So far, I made 2 mistakes. Playing the Cavern and popping the relic. Play another Wasteland. Port their Volcanic. And they don't want the cards on top of their deck, so I can waste the Trop that they fetch here. And they Brainstorm again. I have another fetch. Here I draw another Mariner. So here I maybe should have played the Mariner here. But I was thinking next turn I could go Mariner plus port. But they have yet another land. They get their last Tropical, and they play this Tarmogoyf. And this is where things go downhill for me. I think had I played things a little differently, I'd be in a lot better position. Draw another land. So imagine if one of these, if this Ancient Ziggurat could have been a Cavern of Souls. Because what happens here is I play Mariner. But now, so I'm thinking, I just want to port them for every turn for the rest of the game. I actually felt very favored from this point because they can never cast a green card until they can Wasteland this or Schadenport, because 2 Trops are already gone. So they have another Bolt for the Mariner. Now there's the 3/4 Goyf. I draw a Chieftain, which I'm happy, or I draw a Lackey, and I'm thinking, sweet, I can go Chieftain into the following turn, Lackey, Matron. They have Force for the Force pitching Spell Snare. So keep porting. I'm still getting hit for 3, but it's not too bad yet. I draw a Vial. I cast the Vial as bait, and then I play a Matron. And then they have another Force of Will. So really, I lost to that Wasteland on my Cavern earlier. This was really my fault, and then they Ancient Grudge the Vial. Now it's a 4/5 Goyf. So now from a 2-turn clock, I crack my Islet and I draw another land. Double port them. So I'm hoping they'll have to hold back the Goyf out of respect for the Lackey. They have another land, so they're really good at hitting their lands, which is annoying. And I draw another land, so now I have to block. Double port. And then they have Rough Tumble for lethal. When am I going to stream Modern? I don't know, probably sometime this week. So the 2 Force of Wills were obviously really annoying. The fact that we couldn't stick anything, and obviously next card was I remember I checked and I was mad that I myself for checking. Danny with Danny Wythe 98, thanks for the follow, by the way. I was mad at myself for checking because the next card was Ringleader plus Expert Fanatic Ringleader. So if that Ringleader had been like shifted 1 card up, I would have been able to expert the Goyf, I think, because I would have gotten to attack with the Lackey, put in Ringleader, then cast Ringleader Expert Fanatic, or just cast. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, plus the Fanatic would actually have been able to finish off the Goyf. Yeah, I wonder if they would have held the Wasteland for Cavern. They probably would have Wastelanded the port, right? Because the port was stopping them from casting any more threats. I have to imagine they had a Wrenn or a Goyf or Hexdrinker stuck in their hand, because they stole 2 cards. So those 2 mistakes ended up costing me the game. The Cavern and the Relic. Because if that Relic had lasted for a little bit longer, this Goyf would not have been able to kill me. They would have Ancient Grudged it eventually. But then there's nothing in the yard except for... It would have been a 2/3 Goyf for a very, very long time. So, really bummed about that loss in retrospect. I think I actually had this game kind of in my hands, and I threw it by playing the Cavern. Alright, so then round 4. This is against Storm. This was not super interesting. I saw that I was playing against Storm, and I'm on the draw again, and they Thoughtseize me, take my Vial. I'm like, okay. I draw second Mariner, which like kind of gives me hope. I wasteland the Underground Sea, trying to cut them off black. It seems to work. They play a Volk. We play Volcanic. Hope to live for a turn. They Brainstorm. I think I'm dead. They just ponder again. So now I'm thinking like, oh, I might win this. And we draw Chieftains, so we're going to have a clock after this Mariner. Problem is my opponent has a very, very good Storm hand where they just have so much mana generation where they can ignore the tax from the Mariner, because they have 3 Cabal Rituals with the Past in Flames, and that's just, and multiple LEDs as well. Yeah, so they found all 4 Lion's Eye Diamonds, I think, or maybe just 3, So they have a Storm 20 with 16 floating, 17, and they could have even, you know, Dark Petitioned again if they wanted. So Mariner not good enough to save me there. Because they can just pay for 10 of the tax triggers. So that was a super bummer that I died through the Mariner. Storm usually doesn't have that much free mana, but 3 Cabal Rituals, 3 LEDs is a shit ton of mana. Here I make a mistake as well. This hand may have been a mistake. This is why I hate Leyline, because it kind of makes you keep trap hands. This hand's just like pretty sketchy. And I play the Chalice on 0. I should not have done this. I should have banked on the fact that I needed to draw land for my hand to work anyway, and I should have waited. Because given that I have no pressure, they can just sculpt a hand with cantrips. So obviously I draw the land and feel bad about myself. They Brainstorm again. Thoughtseize me. We draw a Leyline again. I hate Leyline so much. They Brainstorm cantrip a third time. Play another land. Cantrip again. So imagine if all these got... Every single one of these would have gotten bricked. Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual, Cabal Ritual, Cabal Ritual, 3 Cabal Rituals. So enough to go off even through the Leyline, and then they have exact Storm, exact mana. So this was the other match that I think was pretty fully my fault. I should have not played the Chalice on 0, because look what Chalice on 1 would have stopped. This, and this. Their hand may have been a bunch of, you know, bad cards, honestly. How's Goblins treating you in Modern right now? It's alright. I think I 4-1'd my last Modern League. So yeah, turn 3 through the Leyline and the Chalice, but the Chalice should have gone on 1, and I think I would have been in a much better position. So again, I think I played too scared, really, there. That's what lost me this game. So maybe I could have taken it to a game 3. All right, so this is the other round. So this is against Bob Huang. I know Bob Huang sung Depths because he won the SG Classic Modern League. After this, nah. Not today. Any regrets not wastelanding there? I don't think so. I need to draw a third land to do anything anyway. Wasteland probably buys me a turn. But I need 2 turns to draw anything. Unless I drew specifically Lackey. Lackey would have been a very good draw if I had Wastelanded. So I keep this hand against depths. This hand's fine against depths. We got a Vial and a Caracas and a Port. Expert for Hexmage or anything like that. So he goes Urborg Thoughtseize. He takes my Expert. Makes sense. I draw a Ziggurat. So I just decide I'm just going to port him here. Wait, I Thoughtseize me again. So I think in retrospect, in the Storm matchup, actually, I probably should not have kept that hand at all. Because on the play, I essentially have 6 Thalias to go towards. Plus 2 Chalices. Like, I had the Chalice, yes, but I only had 1 land, and I had 3 3-drops, if I recall, and a 2-drop, and a Leyline. I don't know if that hand is actually a keep. It's pretty close. But Leyline is just not that good against Storm. It just isn't. So he Thoughtseize is my pile driver. I draw a Ringleader. His port, the Urborg. Play Stage and Hexmage. I draw a Matron, which is a pretty good draw. So I can kill this Hexmage. And he knows about the Caracas in my hand, so I know he's not going to pop the Hexmage in response. On my, or on the Dark Depths at least. So he takes out my Vial, which is annoying, because my hand's all 4s. And I decide, so this was maybe a mistake. I play out the Caracas so I can port him for another turn. And this ends up costing me. I don't know if it was actually a mistake. But he just makes the combo and then can... I didn't see it. He didn't have a green source yet. So I was thinking he might not be able to crop rotation, but maybe he had the Bayou the whole time, or he drew it Wastelands. So now I have my 1 other Caracas as an out, and I do not find it. So if I had waited on playing the Caracas and didn't port him, then maybe I could have gone another turn. Because I could have ported the Stage, and then he kind of has to use it or not, for the turn, and then I get another turn to attack, but I'm still only dealing 2 a turn. My Vial's reset from the Hexmage, so maybe it would have given me another turn to draw a Wasteland, but I think I was just like playing as if he did not have a crop rotation, but he did. So here, game 2, I think this is the best game that I played. The game that I played the best, I'll say. Because he had a very good draw. Obviously, I have a good start here now. I've got both a Caracas and a Wasteland and a Pithing Needle, and the mana to cast both my creatures. So I'll lead on Territory, play my Vial and Hexmage, or my Needle. I kind of preemptively Needle Hexmage often because it leads to their fastest kills, and Hexmage can just be annoying in general, and I don't want my Needle to get Thoughtseized. I play my Pile Driver. I play out both these instead of leading on a Wasteland because I don't want him to be able to waste my Wasteland while it's tapped, and I also want, if he wastes a colored source of mine, then I don't want him to be able to, or I want to be able to draw another colored source so I can jump home. I mean, Expert, same thing, kind of. Draw a Vial. So I'm thinking, given this construction, there's 2 things that he's either holding up. Just holding up a Reclaimer activation, looking for a black source, probably. Or he's holding up crop rotation, just the actual spell. So I attack for 1. I want to see if he blocks. He does. So I know that this is my only window to kill Reclaimer. Because after this turn, after this activation, it's going to become a 3/4, and it's going to be very difficult to expert it. So I just play my Wasteland, play my Vial. And he activates Reclaimer. I wait to see what he gets. He gets a fetch, so that tells me that he really wants a black source and he wants to turn on Reclaimer, and I kill the Reclaimer. So now that he's tapped out, I know he can't crop rotate for step to save the Reclaimer. So I feel pretty good about myself given that situation. And then he goes Urborg and Plague Engineer. And now I'm like, well, fuck, I have nothing. I draw a Mariner, which is okay. Because, alright, so now, given that he hasn't played any Mox Diamonds, you know, he doesn't have any acceleration, and his mana is probably pretty bad, I decide to double Wasteland him here. The Karakas lets me feel comfortable doing that, because it means I'm not still dead to the Depths combo. And he's pretty damn far away from making the Depths combo, because the Hexmage is needled, and so he would need to go land, stage, Depths, like in that order. And now this Mariner is making my Karakas more protected as well. So he has a 3/4 Reclaimer here, which is pretty nuts. I don't know why Depths gets to play Tarmogoyf too. That's pretty upsetting. So I can't attack back. He draws another Urborg. And can cast the Hexmage that I had stranded in his hand, but thankfully it's needled, so I'm still not dead. So I just need to... I basically know that the Depths plan is off the table for this game for the most part, so I'm just thinking I need to survive... I just need to survive the beatdown, to be honest. So here we draw a Matron, which is really important. And I think on this Matron for a good bit. And I'm pretty sure I come to the correct conclusion that Pashalik is the correct option here, because I know that since I have an actual red source, Pashalik's activation can actually kill the Plague Engineer, and it'll also kill the Vampire Hexmage, and I have a Karakas to protect my own Pashalik, and I have a Vial on 3, so I can actually start fogging, kind of how D&T does it. So here, he gets to Abrupt Decay, so annoyingly, Mariner does not stop Abrupt Decay, because it's countered. It's a Force Spike, not a attacks like Thalia. But my own Karakas, great here, bounces my Pashalik back to my hand. However, this does mean he can attack, whereas before he really couldn't, so I just have to take it. So I'm down to 6. Vial goes to 3. We draw another, we draw Sting Scourger here. So this is kind of neat. So I see that he's missing land drops after that double Wasteland. I knew that he had no land because he top decked the Urborg, because the turn previous he just played the Reclaimer. So Sting Scourger is going to bounce this Plague Engineer, and unless he draws a 3rd land, he's not able to cast again. And I know that the long game doesn't really favor me, so I'm actually just attacking for 5 here. You can't just be passive. So he attacks for 5. I Vial in the Pashalik. And I block. I block the Reclaimer. I'm willing to take the 2. It's annoying that the 2 damage, you know, the first strike is going to hit me first, but he decays again, which is annoying. But again, Karakas. So he's just trying to tempo me out. So we draw a 4th land, which is pretty relevant, because that means we can now activate Pashalik plus Karakas it. I attack for 5 again. He draws a Wasteland, and he replays the Plague Engineer. So now I'm feeling a little scared. But I Vial in the Pashalik. And here I decide to sacrifice the Pile Driver rather than the Mariner. I think the Mariner will be relevant because him Wastelanding my Karakas could end up taking his whole turn, which I think is very, very relevant. And I don't want him to be able to Wasteland Karakas plus Thoughtseize me if I end up having to bounce my Pashalik again. So I sack the Pile Driver. It deals 1 damage, kills the Hexmage. The 2 tokens come into play, kill the Plague Engineer from their immediate deaths. And then I go to 1. Or no. Here, I decide to take the block here and just fog, because I know that nothing can go wrong given that he's tapped out. So here I draw a lackey, which is fine. It's a fine draw. So we attack, put him to 7, play our lackey, pass. He attacks. Now here, I realize that I'm actually, he's at 7, I'm very close to lethal. So I take a hit, go to 1. And right here I think, oh man, is he going to kill me with Rite of Consumption or something like that? I was like, oh, he's going to Rite of Consumption me for 3 and I'm going to lose. But he does not do that. End step, I Violin the Pashalik, he Wastelands the Crocus, I float a mana. He also gets taxed for 1. So this means that he can't, crop rotation to Wasteland me or something, I don't know. But, sack the lackey, deal 1 to him, and look at that, exactly 6. And I could deal 1 more post-combat as well. So that was just the most insane game I played all of yesterday. The game is truly nuts. I fought through some serious hate. Pashlik really shined, bouncing him multiple times with my Caracas. The Sting Scourge to bounce the Plague Engineer was like pretty funny, just in that it bought me time. The Mariner ended up being relevant, even though it did not stop the 2 decays. I think it did probably messed with the Wasteland at the end, which could have ended up being relevant, and I think it had some other implications in the game as well. If he had like an Assassin's Trophy, he just straight up couldn't cast it. Yeah, this game was nuts. This game was really nuts. Game 3, less interesting because, so here, I want to restart because I think that first hand some people may have kept. Yeah. I think some people may have kept this hand just simply because it has a Wasteland in it, but you can't do that against Depths. Depths is very good at beating a Wasteland if you give them the breathing room. Yeah, Pashlik Activation killing an Engineer is very good, for sure. I think this hand is definitely a trap. There's no 1-drop. There's no sideboard cards. It's pretty mediocre. This hand is so much better. We have a Mariner. We have an Expert for a Hex Mage. We've got a Wasteland and a Caracas. This hand's great. Now, I get lucky. He mulligans to 5, and he goes Wasteland pass. So I'm thinking, okay, his hand must be pretty bad. So I just play my Unclaimed Territory because I want to protect both of these, and I know that if I get the Mariner down, his Wasteland's going to be off. He plays an Urborg and a Bob. So since he mulliganed to 5, I'm thinking that he really needs this Bob to stick. So I'm straight up immediate expert of the Bob. He plays the Depths and he passes. So even if he had if he had Hex Mage here, that's potentially a problem. Though Mariner would actually kind of save me from Hex Mage. Because I would get to... this is actually really cool. If he had a Hex Mage there, if I vial in the Mariner, then he can't... Then I can actually just get through his Wasteland. For a turn at least. Because he'd have to Wasteland my Wasteland, and then I waste his Depths, and then he makes it 20/20. But if the Mariner was in play, he would not be able to do that. But since he does nothing, I'm thinking that he has nothing. I'm thinking that his hand is very reliant on this Urborg, because their mana can be really bad sometimes. And I just straight up waste the Urborg, and he draws his card, and that's the game. He really needed that black source to function. So I think there's a little bit of an argument there to wasteland the wasteland, even though it does put you down. It would tap him out for the turn for the most part, but I think going for the kill there and wastelanding the Urborg is correct. I'm not as scared of the Dark Depths kill again because of this Karakas. Because he's just very far away from stage depths, plus wasteland. Because that's Thespian stage, plus 2 lands, plus another land, so he can activate the wasteland through the Mariner. And by then he would just be dead to beats. Even like 4 a turn would be enough, and I could just draw a Goblin. So that was my win versus Bob Huang. I felt very lucky to win that game 2. That game 2 was insane. Obviously, lucky that he mulliganed to 5 game 3. So here's round 6. So here things get a little bit easier for me. I keep a double vial hand on the draw once again. And of course, I keep a turn 1 double vial hand, and I get chaliced, and then I draw a Goblin Lackey. So I'm just like, well, fuck. So I play my territory. So this is on a mulligan to 5 as well. Turn 1 Chalice, turn 2 Thought-Knots here. I'm just like, oh god, am I going to lose to Eldrazi? He takes my Matron. I draw a Mariner, which is like not bad. It stops another Thought-Knot from taking a card. Makes Walking Ballista bad. Take 4. I draw a Pile Driver. At this point, I'm like, okay, I need to draw lands, but if I just draw a bunch of creatures that I can cast, I can just like win the race. I draw another land, which is nice. We attack for 5. So the way the race stands is they're attacking for 5 every turn, or I'm attacking for 5 every turn, they're attacking for 4. So next turn I go to 6, I attack them down to 4, so then I actually win this race, which is pretty crazy. I'm racing at turn 2 Thought-Knots here, on the draw. They draw another land, I'm like, oh god, Reality Smasher. They don't have it. And I draw a War Chief, which is obviously insane, because it gives me exactly lethal. Now, I'm thinking if they have some sort of blocker or removal spell, I do actually lose because of the 1 damage from the fetch and the 1 damage from the Islet. But I'm not playing around that. I'm swinging for lethal, and I hit. So, Xaxes. Game 2. I accidentally submit 61 cards. I actually played 60 at this event, but whoops. I keep another vial hand. So here I realize that this isn't actually this isn't Eldrazi. This is Thalia Stompy. Annoyingly, turn 1 Thalia, pretty good against my Vial Pile Driver. And then they play a Cheetah, which I'm like, oh god. Oh god, no. Cheetah is pretty dang good. I decided I really need to get this Vial up and running. I could have like ported and tried to hold off the Thalia the equip, but I decided that's not really worth it. But here I'm just waiting for the Vial to tick up to 2 so I can Matron for Crater Maker and activate it in the same turn. Yeah. I mean, this deck does have a pretty unreliable mana base, you know, so they mulled to 5, so it's not surprising that they didn't have any white sources, I think. So they play a Ballista. 4 GTA counters and a Ballista on 1, so I'm feeling a little scared. But I know if I can stabilize, you know, the Sling Gang can get me out of this. So here we Matron for our Crater Maker, blow it up right now so they can't make the Thalia huge in combat, because that would just, like, straight up kill me. So they gain a bunch of life, kill my Matron. But now we're down to a 3 turn. And, you know, they're not drawing lands. I'm drawing plenty of lands. I play my Pile Driver because at least it blocks the Ballista. Port their wasteland, they waste my port. Makes sense. I imagine the Thalia might actually be annoying them to some extent, so they just attack for 2. Yeah, Chain Whirler would be good, that's very true. Chain Whirler's probably insane in this matchup. Here we draw a Mariner. So Mariner's pretty sweet because it means that this Ballista becomes much harder to use if they ever want to tap out. So I can freely attack here. The only thing that kind of gets me is a Containment Priest. Containment Priest would eat my Pile Driver, which would suck. So they draw land, they play an Eldrazi Displacer, which isn't super impactful on this board. I cycle my Islet, see if I draw like a Trash Master, take my 2, and I Vial on my Sling Gang. And I see here that it's just like, here's Mariner, they can't Ballista my Sling Gang. I believe I draw Matron here. Yeah. So I decide Matroning. I could Matron for Ringleader here, obviously. My Ringleaders are very good post-board still. I don't sideboard in very much. I sideboarded in like 2 Kinesis and a Needle. I didn't bring in the Needles, yeah. I think I just did 2 Kinesis, yeah. For take out a Lackey, take out a Mariner. But I decide that Trash Master is actually better because it protects my Sling Gang and it pops both of these cards. And it makes it so the Pile Driver can attack. So I kill the Ballista. Mariner counters the activation. They block. I kill their Mox. They do nothing. I draw another Vial, which is annoying. But here I just attack with that. I hit for 4. Play a Vial. And now I'm just like, I just need to be able to take it a little safe and I should be fine because I just need to draw Goblins and I'll be able to win. So then here I believe I have Deterministic Lethal with the correct attack, even though I continue to draw either Vials. Attack with everything, because so attack with everything after the Pile Driver trigger resolves, kill the Ballista. They ping it, they ping the Pile Driver, and the reason that this is okay is if they block the Pile Driver, then they take 5. I sack the Pile Driver to Sling. They go to 7, 2, and then have Xaxis Lethal with the Sling Gang. So despite drawing pretty poorly after that Trash Master came down, Mariner really shined actually against the multiple Walking Ballistas. So that was that match. Round 7 was another Stompy deck. This is just straight up Eldrazi. I mulligan to 6 on the draw again. Keep a Vial, double Wasteland hand. Just like, okay. They chalice me, which is a bummer. Draw Ringleader, and we're just like, okay. The way Eldrazi works, in my experience, you Wasteland them twice, and then they stop casting spells, and then you start casting spells. They kept a 1-lander chalice hand. They draw a land, but it's an Urborg. So I decide I want them on just straight up no mana before I could, and then I'm going to Cavern out this Lackey. Because I knew that they top decked that Urborg, so I just knew that unless they draw yet another land in a row, then I'll just be able to win. So Cavern gets the Lackey through the chalice. They miss their land. They discard Spirit Guide. I Lackey. I think I put in Chieftain here, yeah. I just hold up Expert, and that's game 1. Double Wasteland, pretty dang good. Also, Cavern really good for getting that Lackey through. Game 2, kind of a similar deal. It's like, okay, I have a Vial and a Wasteland and a Port and a Pyrokinesis and a Needle for any Ballistas that get through. They have Ancient Tomb, Eldrazi Mimic, so now I see that this is the Eldrazi like Stompy aggro list. So I'm happy I brought in the Kinesis. Wasteland, the Ancient Tomb, they have an Urborg, they play a Wasteland. We draw a Lackey, which is totally fine. I port their Wasteland. They play a City. And they play a Ballista for 1. So I decide to Kinesis right there because I know the Lackey's not going to get in because the Ballista's in play, and I just might as well save myself the life. We draw another land. We Wasteland their Wasteland, and I know this port is going to make their city very bad. They stop casting spells. We take up to 3. Draw another vial. So just sitting back, just letting the port do its dirty work. I'm generating virtual mana through the vials, so I just need to draw things. Draw Sling Gang. Just need to dodge Thought-Knot Seer, which obviously they can't cast without like Eye into Spirit Guide, something like that. They play an Endless 1 for 2. We draw a Pyrokinesis. At this point, I'm thinking, if I draw any red card or any land, I can hard cast a Pyrokinesis. File in the Sling Gang, because now Sling Gang is going to erase this 2/2 pretty easily. I draw a Lackey. I decide not to play it in case I want to Kinesis. Just kind of hedging. They play Spyglass, which is fine. They name Port, which kind of makes sense because their hand must be really locked up by that Port. They hold back. I play Pile Driver and Needle on Walking Ballista. And then they play a Reality Smasher. And here I don't know why they did this. They probably didn't do the math, but them attacking with Ballista, Smasher actually just puts them straight up dead here. Because I just draw land, hard cast Pyrokinesis, deal just to kill the 2/2 attack for 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh no, I'm 1 short here. I'm 1 short. So had I played the Lackey earlier, I'd have lethal, but it's fine. They have a Mimic, and then they're just dead. So playing out the Lackey it would have been better the way it played out, but I think it was correct to hold it. Because if I had drawn a red card that I wanted to cast, like a War Chief or something, then holding it would be better. Because that would have just given me lethal on the prior turn. Alright, and then there's round 8. So this is against 42 AD. On the draw, a guy known for playing weird Storm builds. And I just see 61. I'm like, 61 Storm. And we have a couple terrible hands. I mulled a 5, and just none of my hands are playable. Like, even this hand is really bad. Yeah, second Smasher would get me. I think I would have had to sacrifice everything but the Sling Gang. But even then I would have lethal, right? They Cabal Therapy named Thalia, because they assume I'm on D&T, and they're like, and then he said, "This is wild." I was like, thanks. Am I going to play a League? No, I don't think so. So he cantrips a bunch. Infernal Tutors for Cabal Ritual, and I was like, alright, I'm dead next turn. We draw a second Mariner. I'm like, man, if my mana was a little bit better, 2 Mariners in play may have been able to save me. And it kind of, Mariner to some extent does save me, because he doesn't actually have enough mana to Tendrils me here. He's kind of close. He takes my Matron, but 42 AD plays a main deck Empty the Warrens, and that's what gets me. Nate, be great. Thanks for popping in. Glad you watched the YouTube channel. Yeah, so he just casts Empty for 20. So it's 40 Goblin tokens, and I'm just like, well, I don't have any answer to that in my deck. So I definitely missed having an answer to Empty the Warrens this event. A Chain Whirler or a Plague Engineer would have been appreciated. I think I might play a Chain Whirler in the sideboard. So here I keep a Leyline, double line. This hand like kind of sucks, but again, am I mulliganing a hand with Leyline in it? If so, why am I bringing in Leyline of the Void? Like this is why I hate Leyline of the Void against Storm. You got back to playing Goblins in Modern. Team dropped. You did well 4-2, losing Mono Green Tron. You lost to Matt Nass. Jun Shadow. Yeah, Jun Shadow sounds awful. Glad everything else went well. Nice job. So here we just draw. This game's like kind of dumb. Because I literally just hit him with 1/1s this like whole game. I hold a Vial in hand to make him think I have something. He brainstorms, I'm like, I'm dead. There's not a whole lot that happens in this game, honestly. He just cantrips a lot. And I draw a Wasteland, which is like kind of something. I take him off a black source at least. Maybe you could have wasted the green source because of like Abrupt Decay, but Abrupt Decay doesn't matter. He thought seizes me. We draw Pashalik, which is neat. Play the Caracas out. He Abrupt Decays, I bounce it, and he's like, wait, whoops. And we draw our red sources, which is pretty cool, actually. And here he starts to go off, but he can't. So this is actually a pretty sweet line that I got to give props to my opponent. He Cabal Therapies himself to names the wrong card just to get the Cabal Therapy out of his hand. I think that's pretty cool. And then double Dark Writ, Infernal Tutor. But he still can't Tendrils me, so he makes an Empty for 12. But the Pashalik actually beats 12 Goblin tokens when my opponent's at such a low life total, because he can't really block anymore. Because he blocks, I activate Pashalik, sacking token, ping, make 2 guys. I just go after his face. Because I know that this is just like lethal next turn, so he just can't kill me. So I win that game because I think he had a pretty mediocre draw. And then game 3, I'm like, well, if I get to turn 2, this hand's really good. Spoiler alert, I don't get to turn 2. He plays out. First, I think I'm getting turn 1, but I'm assuming he plays it out because of a possibility of a Chalice. So I just go land go. I'm just like, please don't kill me. And then he totally does. So Dark Writ, Cabal Writ, Ad Nauseam, Floating Blue, and then he has a pretty solid Ad Naus. Because he hits an LED, a Petal, multiple cantrips, a bounce spell, 2 dark rituals, Tendrils, Empty, and he just fully empty go. And that was that. So 5-3. I think the rug match, I like fully made mistakes. I think I definitely could have won the rug match. I maybe could have gotten to turn to a game 3 against my first Storm opponent. I think so. Like, I guess in retrospect on the deck list, what do I want to change for the future? So we're entering a time where Rug Delver is really, really good. I maybe don't need 2 Caracas anymore, which I would prefer because I would like to fit another red source in here. Because 2 Caracas is a little rough on the mana. So if Depths is becoming less popular because the Rug Delver people have really solved that matchup with the crop rotation package. I might want... I think another plateau is what I want. How many black sources do I have? That's something I'm a little concerned about, is being low on black. 13 black sources, that's not great. And then I have 14 red, or 14 white. And then, oh no, Crocus, get back here. And then 13 blue. So I have most white, but then red. With this mana base, I'd have 15. I'd have 17 red sources. That's enough to play a Chain Whirler, because I really felt the impact of having no answers to empty the Warrens. And also, if Hex Drinker is coming into play, this card is really good at making Hex Drinker silly. Sink a bunch of mana and then you get Whirlered. Mog Fanatic also impressed. Trashmaster felt less necessary. I don't love only having 2 Shatters when Stoneblade is still a thing. I hated Leyline. Wanted a Relic. Different sets. Even look at this. They're the same set, but they came out as different. What the hell? Question about Modern Goblins. I'm taking MCQ. 1 opinion 22 versus 23 lands. Should play Field. I think Field is good because Tron is really popular, and I think you should. Depends on how many reducers you're playing. If you're playing Frog Tosser, like 2 Frog Tossers, you can get away with 22 lands. If you're playing just 4 War Chiefs, like 3 to 4 Skirks as acceleration, you need 23 lands. That's my opinion. Surgical. Yeah, so the meta is going more towards Rug. Oh, I need Trashmaster in the deck. I can't go without him entirely. Only 4 War Chief, 4 Skirk, yeah. Then play 23, yeah. Slangang was really good throughout the whole event. Pretty obviously, gave me a lot of lethals. It's possible I want to play a Slangang over a Krenko. Krenko was quite good as well, and it wins you a lot of your tougher mid-range matchups. A lot of the green decks. So, yeah, Mog Fanatic looked awesome in the event. In a lot of the matchups, it saved me against Delver, against Elves, against humans, and if Hex Drinker is picking up, then I think having more answers is really important. I think Fnatic's actually pretty well positioned. Yeah, so I got to find a cut here. I think losing to Storm twice was a little rough. I think this build's pretty prepared for Storm. I did not have stellar draws versus Storm at all. Just a lot of rough hands. It's possible Trashmaster's more important main deck than the Chain Whirler. But this lowers the curve. Not sure. Not sure what the cut is here. Yeah, it's kind of tough. I'll think about that later, but I think I'd want to move something towards this. Or there was someone else who went Blur. I don't know if he's in the chat anymore. He got the same record as me with red-black goblins. And our builds are pretty similar. He's not playing ley lines, but he played something close. Oh, he played more War Marshals, that's right. He played like 3 War Marshals, 2 Experts, 2 Gem Palms, 2 Crater Makers, 1 Fanatic, 1 Prospector. I think he played a more war. I think he just played 4 War Chiefs, or maybe just 3. I forget his exact build, but something close to this. I'm scared of Mogg War Marshal being a card in your deck in the state of the meta, but if Plague Engineer decks are taking a downturn, we're seeing more and more Rug. War Marshal is good. Mariner was pretty dang solid this event, so I like the flexibility that this sideboard has relative to the other one. I like that you can play Magmatic Sinkhole. This card's really good. This card's really good. And then one of the next things I'm going to test is something Olaf came up with 2 main deck Sinkholes. And a pretty, clear beatdown with 3 Chieftains. So I'm going to test this at some point. If Storm's still as popular as it seems to be, I might play a Nirwig squad somewhere in here. I didn't really have any instances to squad people, though. But like turn 2 Mariner to turn 3 squad is like a pretty gross thing that you could do. Not sure. But I'm sure you could fit a squad in here somehow. I think double Fanatic should be really good, actually, though. I think that's something I really want to do. They get better when I'm playing Lords. They get better when, the way the meta is constructed, there's X ones that people are playing that you want very time-sensitive answers to, and Fanatic into Expert is also a very good way at killing Ren and 6 or Dreadhorde Arcanist. Because if they down tick on the Fanatic, the Ren goes to 1, and then you Expert it. And if they play an Arcanist on turn 2, Expert plus Fanatic finishes it off. So I think Fanatic's really, really good right now. It's possible Chain Whirler could be a Plague Engineer in the sideboard, which would be nice against True Name decks and Coif decks, but not tutorable, harder to I don't know if it would count as harder to cast, because it requires black mana, which, these are my only black sources that aren't going to Lotus Petal themselves if I name Carrier. But this is red. But I got 17 red sources, so. So yeah, that was the run at the Legacy playoff. Hope you enjoyed that breakdown. I'm gonna upload this onto YouTube, and so you guys can check out those matches. I think I won a few more die rolls. It would have been a little easier. Though one of my losses was one of the 2 matches I was on the play, so it's not everything. I think I could have. I'm really sad I lost the Rug Delver match. I think I kind of punted a game that was firmly in my grasp in that game 3. Maybe I should have mulliganed to 5 in game 2, because my hand did lose to a lot of things. Basically any way to interact with Aether Vial I lost, which is generally not a good way to keep a hand on the draw against Rug. Because post-board they get a couple Shatters, and then they have Dazes, and some of them leave in Spell Pierce, and obviously Force of Will. So probably shouldn't have done that. So yeah, hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. I'm gonna sign off here. Next stream will be, what day is it? Monday? Yeah. Maybe Wednesday. We'll see. And I'll probably play some Legacy then. I've been playing a lot of Modern lately, but I want to do more with this build. I'm pretty proud. Oh, I cashed, with 46th. So I'm pretty proud of that. So I sold all the chests but one. So we're gonna open this last chest for the stream and see if we get anything sweet. Probably won't, but we'll see. Huh. Ooh. All right. Watery Grave, Creeping Corrosion. Other cards. Is Watery Grave worth things? Might be. It's like a Ravnica one too. I mean, yeah. All right, bad ticket. Creeping. I doubt Creeping Corrosion is worth anything, but yeah. All right. Add it to the pile of jank. All right, thank you all. I'm gonna close off for now. See who is, oh, no, not my mail. Let's see who's streaming. And Grixis Delver. Thanks for stopping in, Nate. Alright, we'll host Dorkin. He's playing Grixis Delver, which is interesting. Oh yeah, the September thing. If you want to sub to the channel, it's half price right now. I get just as much amount of money, but it costs half as much. So that would be sweet. If you want to support the channel, you get our Lackey emote, and if you do a tier 2 sub, you get the ape emote, which is my favorite. I really love this emote. I think it's pretty funny. Did I miss these subscribers earlier? Night J, Jace to the Face, a couple days ago. Thank you guys. If I missed that, I really appreciate it. All right. See you guys next time.